Hello, everyone. This is Leon Cruz from the Intense Apex Alpha Male blog website. I'm one of the contributing editors, and as described in my introductory video on YouTube, I'll be bringing you one of my first, and hopefully to be a continuation of interviews via Skype as well as podcast. And my first interview is going to be with Freddie from Stop the Left. Hey, Freddie, how you doing?
I'm doing well. It's an honor to be your first guest, by the
Oh,
way.
thanks. So this would be considered episode one, I believe, of
Yes.
this type
Yeah.
of video.
Yeah, I'm new to this, so you guys got to give me some time here.
Okay, all right. So, Freddie, I've been following you for quite some time now. I've known you for 5 years, and you were just a teenage kid in my Bible study class,
Yes.
a known communist at the
Yes.
time.
No.
And I think what changed your life was the book I lent you on Che Guevara,
Yes.
right?
Yes. It was. I thought you were going to say the Bible, but that book you gave me as well also
Right.
changed my life
Well, you were a little turned off by the Bible.
at first.
Yeah.
But yeah. So that book you gave me, I forgot the name. It was Che Guevara and Its Useful Idiots.
Correct. Che
Correct.
Guevara and his useful idiots, right?
Right. So it basically broke down the hypocrisy of Che Guevara and the hypocrisy of communism
Right,
as we
right.
see that they praise it here in America. So once I started reading that, it kind of opened, my mind a little bit.
Right, right. So then immediately, what I found fascinating was how quickly you understood the concept, and also along with the teachings of the Bible, you made a complete 180.
Right. And that also came from, as we've talked before, that I was always hungry for the truth. And I found it in the conservative movement, as you know. I always had a distrust for government, whether I was a, atheist communist or whether I was a conservative now. I've always had a distrust for the establishment. So that's what kind of opened me up to receiving more information.
Fantastic. And I noticed, along with that, you started posting on Instagram. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that? What
Okay.
made you
So,
decide to want to do that?
all right. So it's a funny story behind Stop the Left. It started, we're not even a year old. Um, but we've done big things. It started basically when I had my own personal Instagram, and as I started learning more, I would constantly post political things and links and things like that. So I didn't want to annoy my family and my friends. So I said, let me create my own account, which ended up being Stop the Left, in order to be able to post these things and share it with people who actually want to learn or want to, share common, beliefs. So I started with the Instagram, eventually went to Twitter, and we have a YouTube account as well. But the ultimate goal is to have our own website and do a lot with it as well, because we have a lot of content that we need to put out.
And let me ask you something which is quite unique for a millennial.
Yeah,
You're, how old are you now?
21.
21. What
Yeah,
I find fascinating is that most guys and girls your age are basically mind numb, custard pudding for brain people who are allowed to vote and make decisions that affect everyone. And you're not like that at all.
right. And like I said, that always stems from my distrust of the establishment, because I never, I never believed in that route that, you have to go to school, trust your politicians, all those things that they teach us in school is what creates these kids who basically have no interest in what's going on around them. So this was going on from way before, back when I was, young, 14. I was always interested in learning rather than following a trend or something like that. And it stuck with me.
You didn't subscribe to the typical paradigm that everybody's brought up with in society,
Right, and I tried, believe it or not, I tried a lot. Like,
which is which is basically you're born, you go to school, get good grades, go to college, get a job, and then die. That's the typical
right,
paradigm.
right. So that's exactly how I thought of it, and it wasn't very pretty. It didn't sound good. So I thought there has to be another way to make money, or there has to be more to life than just working and and dying, like you said.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, and it's amazing because that's how I became a conservative. I classify myself as a Christian, evangelical Christian conservative slash libertarian. And the reason why I became that was because first of all, I don't trust authority figures. I do not trust them at all. I question everything, and throughout my life I'm beginning to see and have seen a lot of most of these people in positions of authority are basically morons. They're very stupid, incredibly stupid people, and they're basically barking orders at you and telling you how you have to live. And I found that there is an alternative to that. It's sort of like when the Matrix, when Neo is offered the red pill and the blue pill. You see, I opt for the red pill, which is to see reality, not to subscribe to the typical paradigm that I'm fed through the news media, through society. So I think, which is, I mean, I'm much older than you, and I've seen. I'm a Generation Xer, so I've seen a lot. But what's fascinating is you managed to, like a sponge, see it as well.
Right, and that pretty much comes from the same thing that we just spoke about, which was we don't trust the authority in the sense that we don't trust the government, we don't trust our politicians. Like I said it before, I say many times, these politicians are going to get us all killed because of the stupid decisions that they always make. So, I'm always hungry for the truth. So, when we met, you offered me a different side to what I was being taught in school. You offered me a different side as to question everything rather than just peacefully accept it and go with it.
Right.
You know? So, what you were saying was different from what my teachers were saying. You were teaching me, all different types of things and giving me all this literature that I just took in, and we challenged the status quo. That's what we do as conservatives. We challenge the status quo.
And I remember you were challenging a lot of your liberal, pagan, heathen teachers, right?
Right, and right. You see how some people will look back on high school and say, "Yeah, I had fun because I did this and I did that." My best memories of high school is when I would challenge my teachers, and call them out on their liberalism and their hypocrisy and their, all these things that they try to put out on kids. I would call them out on it, and that was fun. That was fun.
Yeah, because you know that um, the kids that go to a typical public school here, like over here in New York City, they'll tell you everything about the polar bear, about global warming, about racism, and all this other garbage, right? But yet, if you were to ask them what are the branches of the government, they don't know. If you ask them what are the amendments of the Constitution that comprises the Bill of Rights, they don't know. Important things that really matter, they don't know. They go by everything they see on TV. And it's sort of like, you've mentioned this before on your Instagram, and I want you to tell us about this, about the Beyonce shirt
Right.
that started that firestorm. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, so that was one of the funnest episodes that we've had on Stop the Left, where we actually encountered people who disagreed with us. So basically, Beyonce had like a Super Bowl halftime show, and apparently she was wearing a Black Panther attire, and there was actually a protest here in New York City, believe it or not, that was supposed to be a pro-cop rally or whatever.
Right.
So me and my girlfriend, we actually, decided to attend. So I told my girlfriend, I said, you know what, let's make a shirt that says Beyonce hates cops. And on the bottom, we'll put hashtag Cop Lives Matter. So we did it, and we took a picture of it. My girlfriend looked very beautiful in the picture. But unfortunately, our page was public. So we hashtag Beyonce, Black Lives Matter. So somebody saw it, somebody with a lot of followers. They reposted it, and they basically told their minions to go and attack my page. They classified me as everything under the book. They called me racist, bigot, KKK member. I heard all the insults in the book. And eventually these people started reporting some of my stuff, so my posts would get taken down, And I will get threats as well. You know, they would say that they would get my page removed, that was it for me. I wasn't going to see my page in the morning. So as a alternative, as a security measure, we actually decided to make our page private. But it was it was just an interesting episode in the history of Stop the Left because these people tried to take us down. They were not for civil debate.
No,
They were for
liberals never
attacking.
are. Liberals never are.
Right. So that's when I learned the true, you know, their true intentions. Their intentions are not to have a conversation.
No.
Their intentions are to try to dominate the conversation and
Oh,
make sure that you're not allowed to say your side and that you're a racist and that you shouldn't be allowed to speak. You should not have the same liberties that they do. For example, they're always expressing black empowerment, which is fine. I'm okay with you expressing that. If that's what, you believe in, that's on you. But God forbid I pull my girlfriend in a Beyonce hates cop shirt and suddenly you all want to attack me and call me a racist and a bigot and all these things. So there has to be some type of equality. It can't be a different standard for you guys and a different standard for me
yeah, it's
simply because I disagree with you.
correct. You're right. It's like when they talk, it's freedom of speech. When we talk, it's racist and intolerant.
Right. So that's what we were talking about earlier. It goes back to that. They were basically brought up to live in a bubble in the sense that no one's supposed to say this. You're supposed to be politically correct. You're supposed to follow what everyone's following, which is you say as she's some sort of hero. You're not supposed to question her or question the establishment. So that's basically what we do at Stop the Left. We burst their bubble. We burst their bubble. We get them mad. We provoke them. That's what we're supposed to do.
And it's amazing because it got you a nice interview with the Menonisms podcast. Tell me, how did you get that? How did they find you?
Right. So believe it or not, sometimes when I have a really good post that I want to reach more conservatives, because I try to reach obviously people who are on our side of the equation here. So sometimes when I have a good post, I'll go public for about 2 or 3 hours, no more than that, because I risk being deleted. So I put out a couple memes that they thought were funny, and they actually contacted me to be on their show. Now I've never done, interviews. This is literally only my second interview, and I've never done things like that. But they took a liking into my page because the things that we talk about that I provoke.
Hmm.
I destroy these people with my sarcasm, and
You shame
that's what
them.
right.
It's
So
like right now I'm looking at your shirt and it says "slut shamer." Now, my question to you on that is what are the reactions you get when you go in public with shirts like that? What kind of things, comments do you get?
so I usually try to wear the shirt to provoke people. That's like we said. So we've had people that have looked at my shirt 2 or 3 times. We've had people that will look at me the wrong way, like if I owe them money. I've had some lady look at me and just completely shake her head to me, and I don't understand. How can this possibly be offensive to anyone? It says slut shamer. How can you possibly defend slut culture? So I've received a lot of backlash for this shirt because
Did you ever ask
as
them?
we,
Did you ever ask them, what do you think this means that you get such,
I
provokes?
don't. It's like talking to a wall with them. So I don't even try.
Mm.
But a lot of them don't really have, like you said, a lot of them don't really come up to you or would never say the things that they're thinking to you to your face. But I do see the looks and I do see the women shaking their head. All the empowered feminists of New York City, they're shaking their head and they're saying, oh, how dare he wear a shirt like that? But, to normal people like you and I, this shirt makes sense.
Yeah.
But I basically just, it was just an idea because there's a feminist movement to end slut shaming. In other words, if we see women who sleep around, we're not supposed to say anything because we're slut shaming. So I proudly wear this shirt saying that I am a slut shamer and that if women are sluts is not something that I accept.
Right. Right. You
Yeah.
like to shame them. Right.
Right.
And also, tell me a little bit about the troll call you made to that. What is it? This the
CAR,
yes,
the
CA.
Center for the Center of American Islamic Relations. Yeah, it's a tough name there that they have, but the CAR they're known as. They put out a yearly Islamophobic list.
Uh-huh.
I believe it's them or someone they're associated with, a magazine that they're associated with. But it falls under them, and they put out this Islamophobic of the year list, where they'll name people who are quote unquote Islamophobic. So they put a couple good names out there. They put I think they put Alex Jones. Michael Savage has been there a couple
Right.
times, and Coulter. So
Waleed Shobat also.
yeah, right, right. So he was on the list this year. So I was looking through that list and I just couldn't, it was so stupid. It didn't make any sense to me. How do you pull out a list that says you're Islamophobic because you talk about Islam? So I was with my girlfriend. I told her, wouldn't it be funny if I called them and requested to be on that list? Because if they saw the things I say about Muslims and things like that, they would think that I'm attacking the religion itself. They would call me an Islamophobic, as they like to do. So I called and I started asking a little bit about the requirements, and then the guy asked me. He says, "Why? Is there anyone you know that should be on this list?" I said, "Well, according by the things you have mentioned, yeah, I should be on that list. I think it would be great publicity to be on that list. It would be an honor to be next to Alex Jones, Michael Savage, Ann Coulter, and Waleed Shobat. So the guy gets angry and he says, "Oh, I see where this is going. You should really look into your hatred for Islam. You shouldn't hate a religion. You shouldn't hate people just because they worship, Allah or whatever." The recording's out there. It's on my YouTube
Yeah, I have
channel.
it on my. I'm going to include it with this video. I have it on my blog website.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
So
this video will be going up there, and right underneath it, the people who go there will be able to listen to it.
yeah, you should. It's funny because at the end it just ended beautifully. So I tell him, "Okay, thank
Yeah,
you for your
I
help."
caught your girlfriend laughing on that one too.
Yeah, because it was so beautiful, and it wasn't even staged because the guy goes and hangs up on us before we could even finish. So we just start laughing because it's hilarious how upset they get because they never meet anyone who actually starts trolling them or
Challenges
shames
them, yeah, or
right
challenges them, yeah, yeah,
through comedy.
yeah, yeah. And also, I noticed you made it to Breitbart as well, and you've been you went to the Twitter headquarters and started or picking up where someone left off, putting free Milo.
Yes. So now this one's a big one. We've only been around for a year. Stop the left.
You got heat for it on Twitter. Tell us about that.
Yes. Yeah, so let me give you a little background on the Free Milo movement. For people that haven't kept up, I came across someone who told me about. Um, Sorry,
Yeah.
I got distracted. I came across someone who told me about what happened to Milo. Where he got banned off of Twitter for saying for inciting racism. I guess that was the reason they gave. So basically, someone who works for Breitbart, she said she put out a tweet. She said if anyone is in New York City, and she listed a bunch of cities and wants to help Milo and give a statement to Twitter that they can't ban conservatives, send me a message. So I send her a message, and she tells me, okay. I was expecting like a protest or something. She says, okay, all I need you to do is what we're doing is we're taking chalk and we're putting free Milo in front of the offices. So I said I can do that. It's not it's not a felony. It's not probably a misdemeanor at best. So I said, okay, I can do that. I'll get chalk for you and I'll write free Milo. So as I'm scrolling through Breitbart, I'm seeing that there's a lot of people that are doing these things. They had one in I think Texas, Los Angeles. They the Twitter office is right in front, just free Milo. So I went. I saw that someone had already started and misspelled it, by the way, and we have video to prove it because we got a lot of heat on Twitter for that. They misspelled it, so we fixed it up for them. We took a couple pictures. It was fun. The video will be up on my. It should be up on my YouTube. I'll make sure to put it up. It was fun. We wrote free Milo on it. We had the video. Then I eventually sent it back to the person that works at Breitbart,
Hmm.
and she said, "This is great. This is amazing. I'll make sure to give forward it to a writer." So as I'm posting the pictures and things, I start seeing my Twitter feed get a little more how can I put it? Um, More violent in the sense that they did not like what I was doing.
Mm.
So they started calling me all types of names. I was wearing the slut shamer shirt, so they said, "Look at this misogynistic going to the Twitter offices and writing free Milo." So they started, they
And
started making.
are these guys saying that?
I would believe so, but that's the thing. You can't even know who they are because they're not like you and I. They always hide behind their avatars on Twitter. They never put pictures up of themselves. And the ones that do, they're usually fat. So so
Fat
you
tubs
can't really tell.
of horse manure.
Right. So most of these guys, they usually hide behind their Twitters. They hide behind their Twitter accounts. So that's the things I started getting, and it was a, but it was just my Twitter feed just blew up. My
Yeah.
notifications, my messages, they just blew up. Oh, this racist. Oh, this white guy. I'm not even white. All this, all these insults that had basically no effect on me because none of them were true.
Right,
You
right.
know. So basically, people got offended, and they were making fun of it, saying, "Oh, why are you guys chalking? You shouldn't be doing that." And I told them, it's better than burning down cities like Black Lives Matter does. It's better than rioting on the street and beating up cops or killing cops because they banned Milo on Twitter. So it was fun. It was a fun thing, and it actually got featured on Breitbart. We have the links up on our account. So it was a pretty big moment for us to be featured on Breitbart.
Yeah, I mean, I read some of the tweets on there and I said, boy, these people are really pathetic.
And those are the ones that I decided to respond to because there was a lot that I did not respond to,
Wow.
and I got a lot of heat because I actually went private on my Twitter. Now there's a couple reasons why I did that. Um, First of all, we already spoke about it. These people like to report,
Hmm.
so I'm not gonna have them reporting my content. I'm the type of person, if I see something I don't like, I don't hit the report button. I just keep it pushing. I don't try to report anyone because they disagree with me.
Right.
So that's number one. They like to report. So I don't want none of my stuff being taken down for no reason. Um, Second, it's privacy. I don't trust these people. I don't know what they might do with, like that girl did where she posted my girlfriend up and said, go spam this racist. I don't want to put anyone in that position anymore. I don't want to put, my family in that position because you never know how these people will behave. Like we've always spoken that they're not for civil debate. They want to control the conversation. They want to dominate the conversation. They're always right, and how dare you disagree? So I decided to go private on Twitter as with Instagram, and just to troll them a little bit more, just to make them a little more angry. I put right on my bio. I put, I am waiting for Jack Dorsey, that's the owner of Twitter,
Uh-huh.
to ban all the progressives who hurt my feelings. Because you notice it only works for them. Where's Jack Dorsey banning these people who are insulting me?
Yeah,
Where is he then?
yeah,
Oh, of
yeah.
course he wouldn't stand up for a conservative. So I put that just to get them a little bit more angry. But
Right, right. Yeah. Yeah, it's like what I find fascinating is that you can't reason with them. Society has conditioned them so much that they've become basically wimps and sissies. And notice they'll never meet you head to head. I mean, they just won't do it. They have to do attacks, group attacks. They have to blindside you. They'll never ever meet you head to head, ever.
right, so do you know how pathetic that is that you have to spam someone on the internet?
Yeah.
If you got five guys who are, I'd rather five guys beat me up because at least they met me physically. But
But
if
notice
you're
it's five
spamming,
guys. It's not one on one.
right, but at least they met me physically. Now these wimps that are, tweeting me out in groups together on Twitter, you're hiding behind a phone screen. You're hiding behind your Twitter account, and then on top of that, you still need help from people to try to, take me down. That's pathetic.
It is,
That's
yeah.
pathetic.
Well,
And
that's
and I would hope they're not guys. I would hope they're not men because men don't behave that
yeah.
way.
Real men
I
don't
would hope
behave like
they're
that. No.
right. I would hope they're fat feminists. I would rather it be fat feminists because if those are men that behave like that, we're in trouble.
Yeah. Well, you already see the culture. That's another topic for another time. Uh,
Right.
one of the reasons that prompted me to create help create the Intense Apex Alpha Male blog website and name it that, give the suggestion to name it that, is because I've seen the culture change to the point where it's at now, where most men have become sissified fruitcakes. And I'm not talking about the homosexuals. Many of them are just as tough as normal men. you
Yeah.
know? So, we're talking about the little sissies that want their rights, their Second Amendment rights taken away from them. The right for them to self-preserve themselves and their family, they want it taken away. I just can't fit that into my head. I don't get it.
Well, that's because they want to pass the buck to the government. A real man doesn't say, "Oh, I'll let the government take care of my family and take care of my wife in case a burglar, breaks in." No, a real man doesn't do that. A real man would rather have a weapon himself to take care of his
Yeah, but that's
family.
not government's job to do that.
Right.
It's
That
your
that
job
but
to
that
do that.
right. But some men, quote unquote, would rather let the government take care of their family. But that's not us. That's not our instinct. Our instinct is to protect our own family and do it ourselves. It's not government's job to take care of anyone.
Right.
But when we give them that power, that's what happens.
Yeah, and
And
usually when they try to do that, they just want to take away your freedoms more and more and make you into a docile little baby.
right, but that's why there's a culture being promoted that you need government, that without government, society can't function. And I do agree with that to some extent that you do need limited government, but to the point where it
Well,
is
the
now that you
government
need
has a
government.
role. It's in the Constitution. It has a role.
Right.
Beyond
So
that is
it's
redundant.
tyranny.
Yeah, correct.
And we've passed that, we've exceeded that, limit a long time ago.
Yeah.
That limit has been exceeded a long time ago. So at this point, what are we?
Well, it's interesting because people tell me we don't want socialism. Well, I tell them it's already here. 90% of everything in this government is socialized. Now, name one thing the government doesn't have its tentacles in. One thing, and people can't, they don't know. They can't tell me. Because little by little, socialism is injected into a society, slowly. Not like communism. Communism is forced by the butt of a gun towards its society. If you study history, that's how it's done. But socialism is slowly injected into a society. And before you know it, you look around and everything is controlled by the government. Even your toilet, you want to design one, you have to go through them for specifications. You want to
Yeah.
buy a house, you can't build an extra extension on it without all this red tape from city governments. I mean, it's pathetic, but that's where we're at now. Even your car, the government basically tells the companies what they want in a car, and you wind up paying for it.
Right. Now, and then it's evident with the taxes. Some people think they only get taxed when they receive a check, which is not true. You get taxed when you buy a house, when you buy a car, when you
When
fly.
you go to
You
buy
there's
milk in
all
the
these,
store.
right. There's all these taxes, and that's my next shirt, by the way. I'm announcing it here for your followers. Exclusive information that my next shirt is going to be "Taxation is theft,"
Here-
because we
here's
work
another
very
thing.
hard.
Here's another thing you add to that shirt. Add, I believe there's 16 taxes we pay in New York City alone. I want you to add that to the back of the shirt.
Yeah.
If you could find this, I'm going to help you find that. Now,
Right, in case anyone because what idiot would argue with that? What idiot would argue that taxation is theft? That is not theft. It is theft
of
because
course it
it's
is.
something that we're forced to fork up. And I believe, yeah, we should pay taxes, but to the point that it is now, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't understand that if you don't work 40 hours a week like we do, and then some.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, you work. How many hours you work?
if I'm lucky, I work 40 hours.
Okay.
You know, and by me saying that is that if usually it goes more than 40 hours a week, and it's just, when you realize these things, you see that, you're basically working for free. You're working for the government. As you know, New York City is pretty much like a welfare state.
It is. Yeah.
It's a welfare state. It's so much corruption here. It's so much bureaucracy. It's so much government here. It's evident, and it's, you're not allowed to prosper as an individual because government doesn't let you.
Yeah. Now,
It's,
you alluded to T-shirts. Now I know you have a T-shirt business. Tell us more about that. Your T-shirt business.
right. So That's a little independent from Stop the Left, but it's something I started with my two brothers. I don't I'm not into designing and things like that. I'm not creative when it comes to drawing, but I have an older brother who is. So we actually got together and we put our ideas together and we started our own company, Wildcats Clothing, which has its own website, which I link from time to time, but I try to keep it separate. But yeah, it's basically just like a clothing company that we do. It has nothing related to politics. I'm actually wearing one of their hats, well, our hats.
Oh, very nice.
It has a rifle on it
Yeah.
because we promote a culture of being dominant,
Right.
and although it doesn't mix in with the politics, we still promote that culture of being dominant and being the king of the jungle, as they say.
Well, here's
But
something interesting. You mentioned it doesn't mix into politics. Well, here's the old saying goes, never talk about religion or politics. Well, did you know that religion and politics is what forms our life's philosophies? Did you know that?
right,
Yeah,
right.
so you cannot take those two things away. What are you going to talk about then, aside from that? Rocks? I mean,
So, like the rest of the other people. But
what you
no,
said?
you're absolutely
Repeat
right.
that. You kind of froze there.
No, I was saying, if you're not going to talk about religion or politics, you're probably going to end up talking about sports.
Sports, right? But
Yeah,
even that,
that's
believe it or
that's what
not, even
right.
that
That's
has a
what
little.
those. But that but that but that's an interesting point that you bring up because some of these clothing companies like Adidas, they actually put out their own agenda, believe it or not.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
For example, when it was passed that gay marriage was legal in all 50 states, all these companies were putting out their own agendas, they were celebrating that, which, whatever, it's fine to have your own agenda, but it goes back to what we are constantly saying that they're allowed to have their views, they're allowed to express them.
Hmm.
God forbid that we express ours.
It was like the
So,
boxer Pacquiao. He lost his, what was it? His Nike contract because he
yeah,
said
because
something about the homosexual lifestyle.
right, right. So he lost his Nike contract for that, but it just goes to show either you agree with us or we're gonna, cast you away from society and make you look like you're the worst.
Yeah.
Make you look like you're a villain because you disagree with our policies.
Yeah.
That's just how it is, and we just have to push back. That's what I try to do with Stop the Left. That's what you try to do with your website,
Yeah.
which is a fan website, by the way, which I
Oh,
will link.
thanks.
Which I will link.
Yeah.
And people get offended, but so what? I'm not in the business of converting people over to the conservative movement. I used to be, but then I realized that talking to liberals is like talking to a wall.
Yeah.
So I'm no longer in that business. Now my business is to put out a message, and whoever wants to take it takes it. Whoever doesn't doesn't. And whoever gets offended, tough luck.
Too bad.
That yeah, that's that's what I've become. That's what Stop the Left has become. That's what it is.
Well, in life, in this life, you got to stick to your principles, no matter who it offends. Who cares? You got to move forward. Just
Right.
because society's going straight to hell in a handbasket doesn't mean you have to follow.
Absolutely. And if you spend your life trying to not offend people, you're gonna be a different person every time. You're gonna be different with certain people to try to appease that crowd, and then you're gonna try to appease another crowd. So that's why we see, liberals who they have no identity. They follow whatever they'll hear on, CNN or whatever they'll hear on the news. They have no identity because they always have to try to appease a different crowd.
Yeah, and the Spanish news networks are just as bad. The Hispanic culture, especially the men, they like to carry themselves as men, men. Yet you turn on Noticias 47 or 41, all I see is a bunch of castrated beta delta males talking there.
Yeah,
You
and let's
know?
be clear. And let's be clear, we are allowed to say that. Because someone hearing this might say we're racist because we're saying that.
Well, we're
But
both
we're allowed
Hispanic.
to, right, we're allowed to say that. Which, see, things like, if a liberal hears that we're both Hispanic, his head would spin. Because we're supposed to be victims. We're supposed to want liberalism. We're supposed to want free things from the government. So when they hear us talk like that, they automatically associate us with white male, racist,
Well,
So
it's the white Christian male who's being attacked constantly. Everybody else plays the victim. They all have a victim card. They all play the victim, all of them. But you
right,
can't be a white Christian male because they're the oppressors. Remember?
yeah. So it just liberals just
That's all
can't
pathetic.
believe it. I've been, right. So I've been called, they've called me, oh, racist white guy, all over Twitter, all over Instagram. I've been a racist white guy. You know me well. There's not a racist bone in my body.
Absolutely.
I'm not a white guy. But it just doesn't fit their narrative that a Hispanic could actually want to better himself. That a Hispanic immigrant, nonetheless, I am an immigrant, nonetheless could want, to succeed in the private sector. It just doesn't fit their narrative.
Well,
So that's why they try to silence people like you and I.
look at Dinesh D'Souza. You can't get any more brown skinned than him, and he's from India.
Right, right. And great movie too. I actually put out sort of a review for it, but it was
The latest movie, yeah, I gotta check
yeah,
it out. Yeah,
Hillary's America was good. His last one was also good.
yeah,
Obama's America.
yeah,
Yeah. And
yeah.
then he got sent to jail. But yeah, you're right. You're right. But those are the people they attack because it doesn't fit their narrative, or
Right,
either they'll attack them or they'll discredit them
right. Doesn't
because
fit
it
their
doesn't
paradigm.
fit. Right, it doesn't fit their agenda. You
Mhm.
know, according to them, only white people could be racist. But here comes a Hispanic conservative, and they'll start calling me racist too. So you see their hypocrisy. It doesn't add up.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I have conversations like this with some of my colleagues who are basically, some of them are Hispanic and they play the victim, and I tell them, you got to grow a set of grapefruits because men don't talk like that. I said, you're in America. You can become almost anything you want if you just put in the work, and you have the talent, and you put in the work. You see, but sitting around complaining about society, then using your ethnic background or your skin colors is the chump's way out. Bottom line. And when I see guys do that, I have no respect for them. To them, they're nothing but beta and delta males to me. An alpha male does not do that. They don't talk like that. They move forward and accomplish things. And if they don't, they chalk it up as, well, I didn't have talent for that, so I'm going to try this. They move forward. That doesn't come out of their mouths.
Right.
You know?
Right. And believe it or not, we're actually, where we're living at, we're actually rare to see because that's mostly what you see here.
Yeah.
Where we're from, that's mostly what you see. People who are constantly, playing the victim card, and it gets frustrating because these people are so ignorant that they don't even see what they're doing to themselves. They're basically it's frustrating
Could you
sometimes.
repeat
It's
that,
really
Moses? Because
frustrating.
you kind of froze up on me there.
Okay, I was just saying that it's a little frustrating, when you see all these people playing the victim card because, you know, they're putting it out there that they're wimps and they don't want to better themselves, that they rather blame society. It's like a feminist. Instead of bettering her body, instead of bettering her health, or actually seeking out these things that she says men have, she'd rather blame society and make society change instead of her changing her own ways.
Correct.
So there, once again, like it all ties into what we're talking about. It's about passing the buck. It's
Yeah.
not me who's responsible for my decisions. It's society's fault. It's society's fault that I'm so screwed up. It's society's fault that I'm fat. As you know, I used to train, and then I let myself go.
Hmm.
I'm not in shape anymore as I used to be. Do I blame society and say it's society's fault that I drank 2 beers and now I have this stomach? You know,
Right.
we don't do
Right.
that
No.
as men. It doesn't. It has nothing to do. Well, it does have to do something with being men, but as rational human beings, you don't pass the buck for something that you're responsible for.
It's a lifestyle
But
change.
right, but they're not taught responsibility.
Right.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. And it starts with, the educational system. They don't teach them responsibility.
No.
They teach them that if you're failing, it's probably because of a rich white guy. If you're not doing well, you need government to help you.
Yeah.
And,
Or if you don't understand the history, it's because it's not part of your history. You see?
right.
Yeah.
And then you mix that in with capitalism is evil
Yeah.
and America was built on racism
Yeah.
and then they go on to college and it's just a cycle. It's a cycle and And it's scary because, like you said, these people are voting. These people are deciding who gets to govern over us.
Yeah.
So it's scary.
Yeah.
It's scary. So I try to burst that bubble that they live in, and they get offended, which is good. That's my purpose. You know, that's Stop the Left's purpose, to try to offend, you know, what you're doing, because what you're doing is wrong.
Yeah.
So I try to challenge your status quo. I challenge the status quo. I challenge what you're doing. It's wrong. It's wrong, and I will call you out on it. If you're offended, good, good. You're supposed to be offended. That's the whole point.
Right. Right. Well, Freddie, I got to tell you, this was a great, great interview, a conversation. I'm going to
Absolutely.
invite you back again very soon for part two and hopefully part three. And we're going to discuss things that we left off on, like capitalism and why do people feel it's bad when in reality it actually gives us the lifestyle we have in America today. You see, it's another thing we got to discuss. And also
Yes.
training and working out. And I want to let you know that I love Stop the Left, and it gets my intense Apex Alpha Male seal of approval. Okay, so until
Absolutely.
next time,
Yeah.
God bless you. And
All right.
also,
Thank you.
um, uh, make sure to send me all those links for your clothing line and your Instagram and all the important things in case anyone wants to follow you. All right?
I will, and I really appreciate it. It was a good interview. I will link your website as well, which is a great website. And one more thing before we go, just a little preview, because you said we're going to talk about capitalism.
Right.
I know socialism firsthand. I come from a socialist country. It does not work, and we'll leave it off there. That'll be the preview. I'll give you my firsthand look, my experiences with socialism.
Fantastic. God bless you, Freddie.
Uh, Thank you.